Hi everybody, the topic that we are going to discuss today is needs, functions and layout of letter writing. Let's first discuss what is a letter. A letter is a written message that can be handwritten or printed on a paper. As nowadays we see that emails have largely taken the place of handwritten letters that were being used in the earlier times. But still, letter writing plays a very important role for the conversations and communications that happen under a business organization. Let's come to the types of letters that can be written under an organization or under an informal setup. So the first two basic types of letter writing that we discussed and we have already studied in our earlier classes are formal letters and informal letters. Formal letters are basically the ones which have certain pattern and follow a proper formality under its structure. They are absolutely professional in nature and are only written to discuss business transactions or any kind of formal issues. When we talk of informal letters are largely personal letters. They do not follow any formalities or patterns. They can also have the personal information of the people involved under the letter. They are generally written to our friends, relatives, and acquaintances. Apart from the formal and informal letter, there can also be the social letters. Social letters can be congratulatory, the ones which are written over condolences or any kind of invitation which is extended to the people are all of them considered under the part of social letter. Coming to the circular letter is something that is being used to announce the information to the large group of people at the same time when the information is important and it is requested to be sent to all the people at the same time with full clarity, a circular letter is then floated. Coming to employment letters, various types of letters like promotion letter, application letter, joining letter, resignation letter, transfer letter, and many other types of letter related to business processes can be the part of employment letters. Apart from that, we also have official letters. Official letters are written to inform officers, branches, subordinates, superiors, and other people under the business organization about the official piece of information. It might also lay down the rules, regulations, procedure, events, or any other information which is likely to be sent to the people. Talking of the most important kind of letter, which is business letter. Business letter is a letter which can be written by a business organization to any of its stakeholders like customers, clients, external parties, etc. Business letter have many different types of content such as quotation, orders, requests, complaints, claims, etc. that can be mentioned into an important, that can be mentioning any kind of important content inside it. Apart from that, business letters are also useful because it also tries to create a permanent written record for all the work that is being done into the organization and also includes all the recording of the communications that have happened from the official bent of organization. There are many advantages of writing a letter. Talking about the few advantages here, letter writing is much more cheaper and cost effective as compared to the other modes of communication. Letter writing or letters can be largely sent to distant places within a short span of time, and most likely nowadays emails coming into picture, it has become much more convenient to send a letter. Excuse me. Letters are drafted after proper thinking and planning. Of course, ideas which are conveyed from letter are very clear and free from any kind of ambiguity. The size of the letter may be big or small as required, dependent upon the content being written inside the letter. Letters also provide evidences as a proof of documentation for the information that is being sent out. A lot of communication that is happening through the letters can be carbon copied or can be sent to many more people at the same time. This can be done in the printed letters, and along with that it can also be done in emails that we use largely these days. Many unpleasant and delicate material which cannot be spoken upfront or face to face through mechanical devices can also be written in the letter into a discrete language and sent. Letters are suitable and are considered valid for all kinds of communication. There is a standardization in format which is being written for a letter, and this format is standardly acceptable by the entire business world. And properly accepted and properly framed letter even considers it a formal document for being recorded in the organization. What are the various functions for letter writing? So a letter is going to serve many purposes for the organization. For example, a good letter conveys all the relevant information about the topic on which the letter is being sent. All the stakeholders involved in a business organization to whom a letter is being addressed will be aware of the piece of information very clearly. Apart from that, a good letter writing or a valid letter writing also helps to conclude transactions. One of the very specifics of business letter, any kind of business transaction that needs to be completed or closed will have a closure application which will be termed as a formal letter. Apart from that, we also talk of letter writing helping the organizations in creation of demand, especially the circular letters which are floated as an announcement to the people also creates demand for the new products and services that are being offered by the organization. A good letter, a good language, and a good vocabulary that is being sent out by the business organization helps them to create a goodwill in the market and amongst the competitors. Through goodwill messages and the circulars which are being sent, it is likely that an organization doing good work will expand in a shorter period of time. And another important purpose of business letter says that once the people start creating a good reputation and goodwill amongst the people, amongst their stakeholders, then they are likely to establish a very good and long-term relationship with all its stakeholders. As I've already said, that all the business letters can also be used and maintained as a documentary evidence for future references. To do any kind of inquiries, an inquiry letter can also be framed and sent. For placing any orders, for doing any problem solving, for all these types of concern, a letter writing or a letter would always serve the purpose of the organization. A good letter is always simple, is always conversational, which means it looks more interactive and not just very authoritative to write the information, right? Then there's a clarity of objective, which whatever is the objective, or whenever we say we are writing a formal letter, there has to be a subject line mentioned in the letter. That subject line tells you a little idea about what the entire letter is going to be about. So that clarity of goal has to be very important when any of the formal or business letters is being written. Business letter is likely to create a public relationship or a good public image for the organization. Person has to be very courteous and has to maintain a right attitude while writing the letter and should be using appropriate words along with a good language. A small format of a letter writing comes here. So the sender has to mention his address. After that, the date has to be mentioned. After the date, we have to mention the receiver's name and address. After the receiver's name and address, a small one-line objective, which is very short and brief, has to be mentioned. Post writing the subject, we start with the salutation, which means what is the salutation being used for the person to whom the letter is being addressed. When we say next comes body of letter. Body of letter starts with introduction of the concern, its explanation, and finally we come to a complimentary close for the letter, after which the signature, name, and designation of the sender is mentioned. I shall also discuss a small example for letter writing in the classes to come. Thank you so much.